captured Goma, which is the largest city in eastern Congo. Congo's government said the rebel advance was a declaration of war, and the United Nations has described mass panic amongst Goma's 2 million residents. The rebels' offensive threatens to dramatically worsen what is already one of Africa's longest wars and further displace civilians. But where did this all start? This conflict goes back to the Hutu and Tutsi, who are two very similar ethnic groups living in neighbouring Rwanda. The groups had fought several times since the fall of the Tutsi monarchy in 1959, and this culminated in 1994 when 800,000 members of the Tutsi minority community were killed by ethnic Hutu extremists in what was later recognised around the world as a genocide.
A possibility of a military solution to the challenges that faced Eastern DRC.
The UN has warned over a third of the population in Goma's province are displaced, which will only be exacerbated by the capture of the city, with hundreds fleeing. Jackson and his family fled Goma during fighting in 2012, but this time they've chosen to stay.
The surge of fighting in the far east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, inflaming the streets nearly 1,000 miles to the west in the capital, Kinshasa. At the Rwandan embassy, they were looting office contents, breaking up and stripping cars, after Rwanda-backed rebels cemented their control of the city of Goma. The French embassy, too, came under sustained attack, as did Uganda's diplomatic mission. Protesters seeing an international threat to Congolese sovereignty. This man accusing Rwanda of acting in collusion with France, Belgium, the US and others. We've had enough, says this man, invoking the president's promise to attack Rwanda if a bullet were fired in Goma.
Presidents of Rwanda and the DRC have agreed to a meeting on Wednesday. CNN Selma Adelaziz has details.
This is what it sounded like in Goma. Heavy gunfire ringing out as soldiers from the National Army tried to fight off an assault by M23 rebels. They seem to have failed, and the Rwanda-backed M23 group claims it seized control of the eastern Congo's largest city after driving out government troops, forcing thousands to flee, families unsure of where to find safety. Inmates broke free from a local prison. Fighting between the Rwanda-backed rebels and the Army of the Democratic Republic of Congo had ramped up significantly in recent days. The UN warning that the violence has already displaced some 400,000 people in the region since the beginning of the year. Some have been forced out of their homes more than once.
We fled the war, gunshots and bombs, and now we are here. We don't know where to flee to. We've no shelter or place to spend the night.
The M23, March 23rd movement, is a rebel military group primarily active in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Here's a breakdown of their key aspects, origins and goals. The M23 emerged in 2012, claiming to fight for the rights of the Tutsi minority in the DRC. However, their actions and the complex political landscape suggest a more intricate web of motivations, including control of resources and power. Recent conflict, 2022 present. The M23 reignited its conflict in late 2021, launching a major offensive. They have made significant territorial gains, displacing hundreds of thousands of people and causing a humanitarian crisis. Accusations of Rwandan support. Numerous reports and investigations, including those by the UN, allege that Rwanda provides military support to the M23. This has further destabilized the region and heightened tensions between the DRC and Rwanda. Human rights concerns. The M23 has been accused of serious human rights abuses, including killings, rapes, and recruitment of child soldiers. Ongoing situation. As of January 2025, the M23 continues to be a major force in eastern DRC. The conflict is ongoing, with the DRC government forces, supported by UN peacekeepers, struggling to contain the rebels. Important note. The situation in eastern DRC is complex and constantly evolving. It's crucial to stay informed through reliable news sources and analyses to understand the nuances of the conflict and the actors involved. Rwanda has a rich and complex history, marked by both resilience and tragedy. Here's a brief overview. Early history. Ancient inhabitants. The earliest inhabitants of Rwanda were the Twa, a pygmy group who were hunter-gatherers. Kingdoms emerge. Between the 5th and 11th centuries, the Hutu, who were agriculturalists, arrived and established small kingdoms. The Tutsi, who were pastoralists, arrived later, likely between the 14th and 15th centuries. Centralized monarchy. Over time, the Tutsi established a centralized monarchy, with a king, Mwami, at the helm. This kingdom expanded its territory and influence. Colonial era, German and Belgian rule. In the late 19th century, Rwanda became part of German East Africa. After World War I, Belgium took control of Rwanda as a League of Nations mandate. Ethnic divisions deepen. During the colonial period, ethnic distinctions between Hutu and Tutsi were further formalized and institutionalized, leading to increased social divisions. Independence and turmoil. Independence. Rwanda gained independence from Belgium in 1962. Cycles of violence. The years following independence were marked by recurring cycles of ethnic violence between Hutu and Tutsi, with both sides perpetrating atrocities. The Rwandan Genocide. 1994 Genocide. In 1994, Rwanda experienced one of the most horrific events of the 20th century, the Rwandan Genocide. Over a period of 100 days, extremist Hutu militias systematically murdered an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. International failure. The international community was widely criticized for its failure to intervene effectively to stop the genocide. Post-genocide Rwanda. Recovery and reconciliation. Since the genocide, Rwanda has made significant strides in recovery and reconciliation. The government has focused on rebuilding the country, promoting unity, and fostering economic development. Progress and challenges. Rwanda has achieved notable progress in areas such as economic growth, healthcare, and education. However, challenges remain, including addressing the legacy of the genocide and promoting political freedoms. Key points to remember. Rwanda's history is deeply intertwined with the complex relationship between its ethnic groups, particularly the Hutu and Tutsi. The Rwandan genocide was a catastrophic event that had a profound impact on the country and its people. Rwanda has made significant progress in its recovery and development since the genocide, but the legacy of the tragedy continues to shape the nation. It's important to note that this is a very brief overview of Rwanda's history. There are many nuances and complexities that are not covered here. If you are interested in learning more, I encourage you to do further research and consult a variety of sources. Goma is a city located in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, on the border with Rwanda. It sits on the northern shore of Lake Kivu, in the shadow of the active Nyiragongo volcano. Here's a brief history of this dynamic city. Early history. Origins. The name Goma is derived from Goma, meaning drum in the local Bantu languages. This likely refers to the drum-like sounds of volcanic eruptions in the area. Pre-colonial era. Before European colonization, the area was inhabited by various Bantu-speaking groups and was likely a crossroads for trade routes. Colonial period. Belgian rule. In the late 19th century, the region came under Belgian control as part of the Congo Free State, later Belgian Congo. Trading post. Goma developed as a trading post, facilitating commerce on Lake Kivu and connecting overland trade routes. Post-independence era. Independence. The DRC gained independence from Belgium in 1960. Goma became part of the newly independent nation. Regional hub. Goma grew into a regional center for trade and administration. Recent history. Rwandan genocide, 1994. Goma was dramatically impacted by the Rwandan genocide. Hundreds of thousands of Rwandan refugees fled across the border into Goma, creating a massive humanitarian crisis. Congo Wars. The influx of refugees and the instability in the region fueled the First and Second Congo Wars, 1996 to 2003. Goma became a key strategic point in the conflicts. Volcanic eruptions. Goma is located in a volcanically active area. The Nyiragongo volcano has erupted several times, most notably in 2002, causing significant damage and displacement. M23. Conflict. In recent years, Goma has been affected by the conflict involving the M23 rebel group. The city has been the site of fighting and has faced the threat of rebel attacks. Key points. Goma's history has been shaped by its location at the crossroads of Central Africa, its proximity to active volcanoes, and the conflicts that have plagued the region. The city has experienced significant challenges, including humanitarian crises, volcanic eruptions, and armed conflicts. Despite these challenges, Goma remains an important economic and cultural centre in eastern DRC. It's important to remember that Goma's history is still unfolding, and the city continues to face challenges and opportunities.